Thanks, Chad. Well, February is National Heart Health Month. It's the perfect time to see if your diet and exercise support heart health. Registered dietitian Marie Spano is here with 3 healthy tips you can start using today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And this is not a topic that we talk about often, but it's fiber.
It's not, and you bring up a good point because we need about 21 to 38 grams of fiber every single day.
Good grief.
Pregnant women, men, they're on the higher end of that scale. Young women are on the lower end of the scale.
Right.
But Americans in general get about half the fiber we need each day for good health.
Right.
Now, why is that so important? The soluble fiber found in nuts and seeds, barley, oat bran, beans, legumes, peas, lentils, that helps lower our LDL cholesterol, a risk factor for heart disease. So we need to get more. Fit it in, in soups, stews, salads, a variety of different ways you can add fiber.
And people think they're so difficult. Lentils, people shy away from them. And beans, dried beans, you have to soak them overnight. There's a lot easier ways to get your beans and stuff into your diet.
There is. In fact, these red lentils, I'm glad you brought that up. I only soaked them for 40 minutes before I added them to the salad. I didn't even have to cook them.
Now, what's in this one?
So this is black rice. It's lime juice, fresh squeezed lime juice, edamame, those red lentils, a little bit of garlic and some onions.
And how many grams of fiber would be in that serving right there?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably, that's pretty chunk full of fiber, so probably about 12 or so.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't seem that hard. Why are we shying away from fiber?
You know what? We're eating so many refined foods, which we'll talk about next, but Americans in general, we just don't get enough of those beans, the legumes, the fruits, vegetables in our diet. That's one big reason.
And headlines are saying that saturated fats, such as butter, are actually healthy. Fill us in.
Yeah, so those headlines are a little bit misleading. They looked at one particular variable in the diet, just saturated fat, and what's really important is our replacement strategy. Saturated fat is not heart healthy. It increases our LDL cholesterol, that risk factor for heart disease.
Right.
So instead, we want to replace those saturated fats, solid fats, with unsaturated fats, particularly polyunsaturated fats, such as those found in Mazola corn oil, to lower risk of heart disease. And in fact, the USDA found that corn oil, like Mazola, contains 5 times the polyunsaturated fats as olive oil, and a study published in the Journal of Clinical Lipidology found that corn oil actually lowered cholesterol more than extra virgin olive oil. So we want to replace this with this, and the mistake we made years ago is we replaced those high saturated fat foods with lots of sugary, refined carbohydrates.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was pretty excited to see this stuff on here because it's in my fridge. I said, yes, I'm getting fiber. And no, that's not why these are here, unfortunately.
No. So those are high sugar foods with added sugar. And actually, these yogurts, actually they say how much added sugar they have. These sauces, they contain 4 teaspoons of added sugar per 1 serving. That's a lot of sugar. And that increases our cholesterol. And
where should we keep our sugar during the day?
You know what? I say as low as possible, and I say save sugar for dessert. You don't want it in these foods that are mealtime foods.
Right.
Save it for that treat, save it for dessert. We don't need it in our cereal, we don't need it in our sauces, our barbecue sauces, or our yogurt.
We started as babies on this stuff.
Yes.
So it's almost into your system. Sugar is addicting.
You know what, we get so used to it. It does take a while to decrease our sweet tooth and rely on naturally sweet foods. So things like fruits and cucumbers and tomatoes, those actually have some natural sugars in them.
And fruit juices, they have hidden sugars in them. It sounds great that you're getting fruit juice, but there's a lot of sugar in those.
There's a lot of sugar, and what you want to look for if you drink juice is 100% fruit juice, and you want to stick to about 4-ounce serving. One thing I like about certain fruit juices, and you bring me to this, these colors, the dark blacks, the blues, the purples, the deep reds, those research shows that those actually help artery health. So they help make our arteries elastic to accommodate greater blood flow. That's really important, especially for those who have high blood pressure. You want to get more of these colors in your diet. And actually, those 100% fruit juice, emerging research shows that those sugars are actually slow to digest, slow to raise our blood glucose because of the plant-based compounds, the polyphenols, the flavonoids, those things that help our artery health. So these colors are super important. Got it over here, an eggplant, also those red onions.
Well, I see grapes on the table, and I'm going to ask for all my wino friends. Wine is made from grapes, so it's good for us, right?
It is. The association between red wine and heart health, it's probably due to the grapes. And what's really interesting is a lot of those compounds are actually concentrated in the seeds of the grapes. Who eats the seeds? The thing about red wine we need to be aware of is that it does increase our blood fats, and it can increase our blood pressure. So Moderation is key. A drink or less per day for women, 2 or less per day for men.
Excellent. We have a lot of choices here to help us continue our New Year's resolutions of eating healthy, getting proper fiber, keeping our sugar down. Thank you so much for your expertise. Your Pinterest boards are amazing. So, up next, it's the big reveal.